It was easy for us too, yeah.
My name is David Bonacorsi. Benvenuti a tutti. Benvenuti. As a proud Italian American, I welcome you to the Italian American Community Federation dinner tonight. Or as we Italians like to call it, the Federazione e Comunità degli Italo-Americani. Welcome, benvenuti. And we have its great founder over here, Giovanni Zucchi, from the northernmost part of Italy. Giovanni, give a hand for Giovanni Zucchi. And we've got Congressman Onda from San Jose. Congressman Onda in Italian means wave. So let's wave to Congressman Onda. And of course, we have a terrific Italian-American keynote speaker tonight, Carlo Guardino. Carlo Guardino. Something wrong? Something wrong? Oops. Oops. Sorry. Got that wrong. Congratulations. Thank you, Raul. We're here at the Indo-American Community Federation, founded by Jivan Zucchi from the north of India. I got that a little bit wrong. North of Italy, north of India, from Kashmir. And it's not the first time that an Italian goofed when it came to India. Back in 1492, some guy named Christopher Columbus stumbled on the New World and he called it India, New India. So there you go. It's not the first time. But I was right in one respect. We do have a terrific Italian-American keynote speaker, Carlo Guardino, here this evening that we're all looking forward to hearing. Tonight is a night of fun and celebration. But our purpose here in coming together is serious, important, and even sacred. This unity dinner renews and strengthens the bonds of our ethnically diverse community in the Tri-City areas. Do you see the bread on your table tonight? Everybody has bread to pass along. I am going to give you a little bit more Roman Italian history. The word for companionship comes from two Latin words, con and pane, with bread, or as breaking of bread. And the breaking of bread, whether in the West, in the East, or in South Asia, is an act of trust. It is an act of caring. It is a demonstration of connection and kinship. And it is the Indo-American Community Federation, or Iacf-US, which has spearheaded this effort of cross-cultural companionship, beginning with organizing the very first Unity Dinner back on September 11th in 2001. It is a nonprofit organization founded by Fremont's own Jivan Zucchi in 1994. His purpose in founding IACF was to encourage Indo-American participation in the broader community to advance issues of common concern. The first Unity Dinner was held in 2002, and many of the people that were leaders then are here tonight. It was encouraged by Assemblymember John Dutra, who is here, and Congressman Pete Stark, who would have liked to have been here, and Assemblymember former State Senator Liz Figueroa. Now, in its 11th year, it's a demonstration of its commitment to serve the larger community. Over the years, the Unity Dinner has evolved with different themes focusing on topical issues of national and local concern, such as aging, condition, or health care. Tonight, we are having as our keynote speaker a discussion on unity through diversity, creating jobs in California. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And in that spirit of unity, I'm going to say it in Spanish. Bienvenidos a todos esta noche. In Mandarin Chinese, Nu Xing Men, Xian Men, Da Jia Wan San Hao. Has become popular and well known because of the appeal of yoga. One simple word that carries a universe of meaning. Namaste. Namaste, welcome. Before I introduce our first speaker, I'd like to acknowledge our elected officials that are here this evening. And what I'd like you to do is to hold your applause to the end, but I would like the elected officials to stand as I acknowledge them. And if, as is inevitable, I may miss somebody, please shout it out and I will recognize you. Congressman Mike Honda, could you please stand up? From Pete Stark's office, his representative, Jason Teramoto. From State Senator Ellen Corbett's office, Miriam Reynosa. ¿Cómo está kana, Miriam? From Assemblymember Bob Wykowski's office, Bob Wykowski himself. From Assemblymember, and we have former Assemblymember John Dutra. From the County of Alameda, we have County Supervisor Scott Haggerty. Scott, where are you? I saw you. Please stand up, Scott. There you are. We will have later on this evening, hello, Scott. Hello, my fellow Husky graduate. We also have Nate Miley, who will be here later, but Bob Swanson will be introducing him. From District 2, representing Supervisor Nadia Lockyer, a great name, a district representative, Ginny DeMartini. Ginny DeMartini is here. From the city of Fremont, we have a great representation. Our Mayor, Gus Morrison. Please stand up, Mayor Morrison. We have the only elected Indo-American woman in the state of California right here in Fremont, Vice Mayor Anu Natarajan. And we have Council Member Suzanne Lee Chan, and we have Council Member Bill Harrison, and we also have the Chief of Police, if we get out of hand, Chief of Police Craig Steckler. And from the city of Newark, we have Mayor Al Nagy, and I understand that former Mayor Dave Smith is also here. We also, city of Hayward, we have Council Member Bill Quirk. I did see Bill District. Before I go there, I've got 2 more cities to cover. From the great city of Milpitas across the county divide, we have Mayor Jose Esteves. Again, Galing. Jose Esteves, where are you? And a leader, Ash Kalra from the city of San Jose. Ash, where are you? From our school boards, from the Loney College Board, I saw Teresa Cox. And from the Fremont Unified School District, I saw Ivy Wu and Lily May. And from the Union Sanitary District, another Indo-American leader in our community, beautiful name, Anjali Lati. Anjali, Angel, Anjali. And from BART, we have, and I have a fellow Kawanian, my partner, Elise Bagley, said, you don't forget this fellow Kawanian. Tom Blaylock from the BART Board of Directors, from the Alameda County Water District, John Weed. So these are all the electeds that I have listed. If there's anybody else elected that I've missed, please let me know. We have Dr. Bernard Stewart from the Washington Township Hospital District. See, I'm paying attention. Do we have anybody else? Oh, we have, from Cupertino, Gilbert Wang. And who do we have over here? I got Teresa Kyle. Oh, sorry, and from the city of Newark, actually from Ohlone College, Vivian Larson, Ohlone College. Thank you, Vivian. And who else? Did I not mention you? Are you the table cap in this? I'm not going to be able to leave here alive. Patricia Danielson, the president of the board of the Washington Hospital Healthcare District. See, I need to have some dramatic omissions here so they get special attention. So we have all these wonderful leaders. Let's now give them a great round of applause. Now it's my honor to introduce Mayor Morrison, Mayor Gus Morrison. First, as a council member back in 1978, I was 17 at the time and had hair and was going to Washington High School. That's when his political career in elected office started. He's been mayor, he was telling me he's been mayor for over 4 decades, in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and now currently again. And over his time, he has presided over the introduction of wonderful religious diversity with mosques and gurdwaras and temples here in the Fremont and the Tri-Cities area. And he's credited with appointing the first Asian American Planning Commission and first 2 great Indo-American Planning Commissioners, Rakesh Sharma, Dr. Rakesh Sharma, and our current Vice Mayor Anu Natarajan, and Dr. Sharma is here this evening. Gus was the mayor on 9/11, again, which was the advent of this event back in 2002, and presided over a very wonderful and moving tribute to that sad, sad day. He is here again tonight to give you a few remarks. Let us give us a warm round of applause to Mayor Gus Morrison.
Thank you. What's interesting is, according to the program, I have less time than the introduction took. I'm pleased to be here tonight and to join you all, welcome you to Fremont, and to also pay tribute to Jeevan's stick-to-itiveness, his gumption, his courage to keep this going on for 11 years. Building a community as diverse as we are and finding ways to bring them together is important. I'm looking at some data today for the State of the City speech next week, but in 1960, 4 years after we were incorporated, there were 31 Indians living in Fremont. There were fewer than 700 total Asians living in Fremont. We were 98.5% Caucasian. Today, The total Asian population is 108,000. Half of our population is Asian. But they're not just from one country. They're from all over the world. About a third Indian, a third Chinese, and the rest scattered from all over. It is one of the most interesting places you would find. If you look at the places, and I tell people, I went to my 50th high school reunion a few years ago in a community where my high school was all white. And I sat in a room with old white people, and I was uncomfortable after being in Fremont for so many years. This is a really great place, and it's great because people care about each other, they care about their kids, and they care about their community. And I pay tribute to Jeevan for doing that and keeping us on the right path every year, reminding us what this unity thing is all about. So thank you for coming. Look forward to a good evening, and I'm going to go eat my dinner now.
At this point, for a little bit of a somber moment of reflection, I am privileged to introduce my fellow planning commissioner, a leader in the Indo-American community and in the larger community, my former chair of the planning commissioner, Yogi Chugh.
Thank you very much. Good evening, folks. I know dinner comes in the way of every of these events, but some of these speakers that are here tonight are going to come back and speak about the most important thing, which is unity and diversity. To just take a moment of your time to recognize that the Unity Dinner was created post 9/11 to celebrate diversity and to celebrate the bring together communities. And as Jeevan and I spoke earlier this week, we must reflect upon a human being that we feel has done more for the city of Fremont in regards to coming back and celebrating diversity. Our former police chief and also the former mayor of the city of Fremont, Mayor Bob Wasserman, was an early champion. Early in his career, he recognized and embraced that diversity is what brings communities together. And it is that work that he came back and began to embrace diversity, and he began to recognize that Fremont's greatest strength came from us to be able to forge those relationships. A good human being, and I will firmly believe in this, that there is not a single person in this room who will not acknowledge the fact that when Mayor Wasserman was in this room last year, even though we miss him today, he has left with us some fond memories, and I believe his greatest legacy will be to recognize diversity. And as we celebrate unity and diversity today, I ask each one of you to relish the memories of Mayor Bob Wasserman and to recognize that the celebration of diversity came with a human being who believed in action. And every single time he came back, he nurtured this community. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Mayor Wasserman for the true diversity that he spoke about as we do this Unity Dinner each year, and every year after. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my fellow Commissioner Yogi Chugh. Very well done. Now I'd like to introduce the son of the founder who corrected me and told me where I am this evening. This is Raul Zucchi, who is the youth president of Iacf, and he's been coming to the Unity Dinner every year. Even though he's moved away, he makes a point of coming here every year to celebrate the Unity Dinner with his father. So I'd like to call to the stage Raul Zucchi, who's going to be introducing our keynote speaker. Let's give a hand for Raul Zucchi.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my distinct privilege and honor to introduce to you all a man that needs no introduction, a Bay Area native whose driving philosophy is to make a positive influence wherever he goes. He most certainly has done so in Silicon Valley. Since 1997, he has been chief executive of the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, a collection of top executives from high-tech, biotech, and green tech companies. In 2007, he was appointed to the California Transportation Commission by former Governor Schwarzenegger and led several successful local ballot measure campaigns that generated more than $10 billion to fund local freeways and mass transit projects. He also helped create a voluntary housing trust fund that raised around $40 million. That capital was leveraged into $1.9 billion in private development that assisted over 9,000 families in buying and renting homes. In addition, he hosts the CEO Talk Show, which is a weekly radio show featuring top Silicon Valley CEOs and executives. I can't think of a better man to highlight tonight's theme of creating jobs in California than this father of two. Without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Carl Guardino.
Good evening. You're having, thank you. Good evening. You're having way too much fun, and I hope I can keep that going. I am so honored to be here tonight, and I'm going to do my best through this great meal to get and keep your attention. So I'm going to channel being a librarian and do this. Shh. Good. My name's Carl Guardino, as the MC pointed out, and I am so honored to be here this evening. I have a strict rule. Friday nights are pretty sacred in the Guardino house for my wife and our two little girls, Jessica, who is 7, and Sienna, who is 3. And so I agreed to join you this evening because of my immense respect for what you have tried to do now for well over a decade of creating unity through our diversity, which is such a pillar, not only for our nation, but epitomized right here in Silicon Valley. And I was asked to speak this evening. Shh. Thank you. I was asked to speak this evening on a theme, unity through diversity, creating jobs in California. So let me jump right in. My organization, the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, was created 35 years ago, this July 18th, by a person who symbolizes Silicon Valley, David Packard, the co-founder of Hewlett-Packard. When he brought together 39 very diverse CEOs, fierce competitors in the marketplace, around their unity of wanting a strong Silicon Valley state and nation, both to provide jobs, but also a wonderful quality of life for all of us to enjoy. And when he created the organization, he was asked why he did so, and it was a pretty simple answer. He said, "Our job as CEOs is not to sit on the sidelines and either cheer or jeer. Our job is to get into the game and move the ball forward." And that's what we're all about. I know that's what you're all about. How many of you have ever heard of a former state legislator named John Vasconcellos? About a third of us have. Well, John Vasconcellos is a towering man. He stands about 6'4". By his own admission, he was a liberal lion of the state legislature, and very proud of that, who never forgot that a strong economy also meant strong government programs to serve society. And as we talk about creating jobs through unity, John Vasconcellos, early in his career, reached out to our founder, David Packard. And he tells the story of the first time they met. He walked into David Packard's office at Hewlett-Packard. Mr. Packard stood up, and he was even more imposing and taller than John. He was about 6'5". Shh. I'm gonna impose on you one more time to get your attention. I gave up my children tonight, so I'm just going to ask for your focus. Thank you. So, David Packard got up from his desk, he approached John Vasconcellos, and John tells the story this way. This towering man, one of the leading capitalists and job creators in the world, stood over him, took his finger, poked it at John Vasconcellos' chest, and said, "You need us. You need us to create jobs, a strong economy, and a tax base." And John admits he was kind of put off until David Packard took that big finger, poked himself on the chest, and said, "And we need you. We need you to provide great schools, a great transportation system, and the safety net that our most vulnerable citizens need." Your theme was his theme. We're in this together. We create jobs through the unity that we have and the diversity that we bring in offering solutions. So let me just share for a few moments as we move forward. I mentioned our founder, David Packard, but when I think of the challenges we face as a society in Silicon Valley and throughout the state for job creation, I can't help but think of someone outside of Silicon Valley, and that's the hockey great Wayne Gretzky. Am I the only Sharks fan here tonight, or are there others? You know you're in an interesting room when Wayne Gretzky gets more applause than David Packard. Wayne Gretzky is famous for saying, when he was asked about why he was so successful, "I skate to where the puck is going, not to where the puck is." That is what we need to do in California today. For our public officials, let's have this challenge together. We need to be as bold in our policy making as Silicon Valley is in innovation. What do I mean by that? I often hear well-meaning CEOs and well-meaning elected officials disconnect when we talk about our economy today. CEOs see the challenges to our region, state, and nation as systemic. Elected officials often see it as cyclical. And the solutions that are offered, if you see a problem as systemic or cyclical, can be vastly different, can't they? If you think they're cyclical, what do you do during a think it's systemic? You go for bold change. So the first thing we need to do is agree, is it cyclical or systemic? We're growing again. You know that, right? We're growing. We're not really going to overcome unemployment. If we set as a goal as public and private sector leaders and community leaders 4%, the solutions would be vastly different than thinking that 2.2% was sufficient. So let me just share with you a couple of thoughts and leave it there for the evening. When we talk about unity and diversity, we often think of employers and their employees. Every year for 10 years, we do an annual survey of nearly 200 CEOs. One of the key questions we ask is this: what is the most important set of issues? The follow-up question is, what's the most important issue you face as an employer? Here's the good news. Employer or employee, diverse perspective. Top issue almost every year for employees, housing that they and their families can afford. Top issue This year's survey of 188 Silicon Valley CEOs, housing that their workers can afford. Top issue, traffic congestion by employees. Top issue of employers trying to compete here to compete globally, traffic congestion. Top issue of employees, a great K-12 education system for their kids. Top issue for employers, a great K-12 education system for their employees' kids. Those are three of the bedrock issues, and there's agreement between Silicon Valley boardrooms and the bedrooms of Silicon Valley workers, then we have tremendous opportunity to affect change. So I'm going to leave you with this note, because I was asked to share and you heard it in the intro. So are you putting your money where your mouth is? How are you affecting change in those areas? I'm going to ask my friend and colleague, Mike Honda, to stand up for a moment. Mike, come on up here. Congressman Mike Honda. "23 years ago, I had the bad judgment to run against this man for the County Board of Supervisors in a neighboring county. I got trashed. The voters had good judgment, they elected him. We had one overriding issue in common in that campaign to bring traffic relief here in Alameda County and in Santa Clara County. And what was that system?"
Crash.
Bart.
Bart? He has to tell me the answer is Bart.
The answer, of course, is Bart. So, traffic relief. Do you know that on April 12th, we will stick shovel... Yep. Mike Honda and his colleagues in the House and Senate just secured $900 million for the federal share of that BART extension.
100 million.
Yep. With $100 million down payment in April. We're going to change your name, Mike Honda, to Bart Honda. For the leadership group share, a business group, we not just supported, we led 2 sales tax measures on ourselves to fund that $6.2 billion 16-mile extension. It's not just identifying problems, it's leading the way to solve those problems. Mike, we salute you. Thank you. But it's more than a BART line, isn't it? It's 2,500 construction jobs each year for each of the next 4 years. It's putting people to work that are going to help the rest of us get to work. That 16-mile extension alone is going to carry 98,000 daily passenger trips. And if you never get on a BART car, your own car is going to have a lot less red lights in front of it because of that improvement. That's traffic. Housing. It was mentioned, we created a housing trust fund. We've raised $40 million. The cynics among us would say 40 million sounds like about 3 homes in Los Altos Hills. The good news is we've leveraged that 40 million to 1.9 billion in private development. We've helped 9,800 families in this region secure an affordable home with those funds. Bold action, knowing that we have systemic, not just cyclical challenges. The last example I want to give that ties in with our theme of job creation, unity, and diversity is this. And it's on that third topic of K-12 education. How many of us have kids? Great. We have 2. a 7-year-old, as I mentioned, Jessica, a 3-year-old, Sienna. Jessica was born the old-fashioned way. We're her natural parents. Sienna, we adopted at 1 day old out of a small town in Ogden, Utah. She's 100% Latina. She is the light of our lives. Yet, in that small town and in Silicon Valley, the dropout rate for Latinas is close to 50% from ever graduating from high school, let alone ever going to college, graduating from college, getting an advanced degree, getting a high-skill, high-wage, high-tech job in Silicon Valley. So we determined to try to do something about that. And if we work on nothing else together for job creation in Silicon Valley and California, let's work together to improve our education system for every single child. I know, Bob Wykowski, it's a top priority of our state legislature, of Congress, here at the local level, Steve Cho, Anu Natarajan, and others, Anu Natarajan. We have so much more, there you are, so much more ground that we can make up in terms of providing that better education system. So I want to give you a challenge tonight as I get ready to finish. There are public policy steps we can take. There are great programs we can lead. But there's also the personal time we can give. We launched a tutoring initiative 6 months ago as a beta test. 45 minutes a week for as little as 8 weeks, we can turn around the life of a young person. I tested this in an elementary school in the shadow of San Jose City Hall. A 2nd grade girl, 2nd semester, who was reading already a 1.5 years behind. Well, if you can't read in Silicon Valley, you can't do science, you can't do math, you can't succeed in life or your future livelihood. 8 weeks later, that 2nd grade girl was reading at a 3rd grade, 2nd semester grade level. She had gone up 2 grade levels in 8 weeks. And that was with me as a tutor, not somebody who was qualified. It's more heart than head. So I want to challenge you to find that way, that small investment that we can make to create opportunities in others that will create jobs in California. Just 3 basics that can make a difference and that I wanted to share with you this evening. Let me share one final thought. I quoted Wayne Gretzky at the beginning. I will quote him at the end. When you're thinking of doing something bold, as you have done here tonight, by having your Unity Through Diversity dinner for 12 years in a row, Wayne Gretzky stated clearly, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So let's be bold together, take shots. We're going to miss on some, but when we succeed, we make a tremendous difference in the lives and the livelihoods of others. Thank you for letting me join you.
Carl, this is yours. One of the things that resonated about what Carl was saying about that triad of concerns of transportation, education, and housing was of particular interest to me is the housing issue about the private and public partnerships that create $40 million and translate it into $1.9 billion for affordable housing. And I wanted to reflect and recognize my fellow commissioner who also serves on abode services with me, where we are trying to combat homelessness in Alameda County, Contra Costa County, Dr. Raj Sawan. Commissioner Sawan, I wanted to recognize you. And in the interest of recognizing Indo-American leaders in our elected officials as well as our commissioners, we have two commissioners that are from the Alameda County Human Relations Commission, Lalit Mathur and Aisha Wahab. So Lalit and Aisha, congratulations. Next, I would like to introduce Niraj Bakshi. Niraj Bakshi, could you come up here, please? Niraj Bakshi is the founder of an organization called the National Federation of Indian American Associations, or NFIA, and another organization called GOPIO, which is the Global Organization of Peoples of Indian Origin. And he is going to be introducing the General Consul of India. So, Mr. Bakshi, please come up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Chairman Jeevan, Congressman Honda, Mayor Morrison, elected officials, particularly the Indian elected officials who are here, many community leaders. In fact, I don't see anybody missing from Indian community leadership that is not here, but all leaders. Colonel Parthasarathy is a unique person with a unique background. He's an engineer, but joined foreign service. He has served in Korea in a very, very distinguished manner, where the trade increased of India and Korea from 5 billion or 4 billion to 15 billion. Am I right, CG? CG has done a marvelous job in West Africa. He's written books too. A person of diverse interests, a person who has accomplished a lot in many, many fields besides politics, foreign policy. I'm very honored, very delighted to introduce to you Consul General Parthasarathy. Consul.
Wow, what a gathering today, evening we have all around, smiling faces. The chairman of Indo-American Community Federation, Mr. Jeevan Jutsi, Congressman Mike Honda, the mayor of the city, Mr. Gus Morrison, and our own vice mayor, Anu Natarajan, and so many distinguished elected officials, community leaders, and more importantly, all those who are present here participating in this evening. America is the oldest democracy. India is the largest democracy. What better way to capture the essence of these two democracies than organizing what you call the unity dinner? In India, we celebrate diversity. We have only 1,200 million people, and every religion you can think of in the world is represented there. And just go 200 miles from any direction to the other direction, the language changes, the cuisine changes, the dress changes, practically everything is different. But that is what we call unity in diversity. The very fact that we allow everybody to express themselves, that is what is unity in India. And so is America. In America, you again have people from all countries, all over the globe, and everybody is a proud American. And so in both these countries, which are democracies, we celebrate diversity, but that diversity is the strength. Particularly the Indian community that we have in India, even in this Bay Area, they represent this great diversity that's in India. They come from different states, different backgrounds, different language groups, different all, but still they are all proud Indians when they come here. At the same time, they are also a unique group within the diversity that's already available in US. In fact, to me, I would say that the Indian community here represents one of the best models, demonstrates one of the best examples one can have. They came here, they struggled, they established themselves, and today they are proudly, the next generation that has come up is what do you call a confident desis, what we call. They are Americans, they are Indians, they are very comfortable here, they are competitive, but at the same time, they still value the traditions and values of India. As they say, you can get an Indian out of India, but you cannot take the Indianness out of the Indian. So it's always there, and we are so proud of it. And these people, the other unique thing what you see is that they are contributing to this land, which is their adopted country, where they are comfortable, they are contributing here, but at the same time, they are also contributing to their motherland. So they are the people, for example, in this area, if you go, 4 out of the 10 startups are by Indians. Any field you go, the moment you talk of Indians, I was asking somebody, the first thing that the thought comes to them in their mind, Indians, intelligent, good people, computers. And people tell me, I send my children to my neighbor who is an Indian because I know that my children will go and study well. They do very well. So that's why I would say that we are very proud of the Indian community that's here. Through their achievements, they have enhanced the image of India. And as Indian stature grows, they all feel proud to be of Indian origin or Indian nationals. Between India and America, we have great relationship today because practically in every field, whether it is on a bilateral issue, whether it is agriculture, health, or education, we have great understanding and cooperation, but at the same time, this mutual cooperation that is extending also is to meet the global challenges. Both India and America have understood that we both have a stake in each other's success. So there is no looking back. What is happening is between the two great democracies, the cooperation is growing comprehensively and most intensively. And for that, I think we should all feel proud that you are all contributing to that development. And I would only say that between India and America, the harmony, that's goodwill, that will continue to grow. And we deeply appreciate the basic character of the Americans in giving, the charity, and as well as contributing to accept ideas, accept different viewpoints, and tolerate even if something is different. So this is what is making two great democracies, India and America, being proud of each other, working in tandem for the global peace and stability and security. I wish everyone all the very best and congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I wanted to also acknowledge the presence of Deputy Consul General, Mr. Kumar Tuhin, Kumarji, and also the Consul, our organizer of the evening, Jeevan Zutsi. Most of us know him. Most of us have worked with him. But there might be a few who are not acquainted with this dynamic person. 30+ years of community work. This organization, the many activities, the many unity dinners, and serving on many boards, many commissions, and always being out there as a volunteer for the community. Friends, I am delighted and honored to invite our community volunteer, our community leader, and my dear friend, Jeevan Jutsi. Jeevan just delicately reminds me that, Neeraj, the reason why you are introducing me is the organization that we have built, a proud organization around the world that we have built, known as the Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, GOPIO. GOPIO was started with the mission that if there is a problem with one Indian anywhere in this globe, all Indians will speak together as one voice. And that is the organization that we created 26 years ago. Everyone around the world has been visited, has been looked at. The organizational leadership, the individual leadership has been recognized. So GOPIO was formed in 1988. This organization has taken up causes of Indians around the globe. Such stature represents GOPIO in all the activities that GOPIO is going to be doing around in the Western region. I know that GOPIO looks forward with great pride, with great vision that Jeevan is going to be establishing for this Western region. I know that he is going to be one of the best that GOPIO has had. Jeevan, may I recommend that you come and speak?
Thank you. Thank you, Neeraj. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you all. This event, year after year. And this definitely means that you all believe in peace, harmony, promoting diversity. And on that note, since Neeraj was talking about GOPIO, I would like to also mention that the Silicon Valley chapter, young man, his name is Ajay Jain Bhutoria. I would like to bring him up here. And I would also like to mention here, let Ajay speak and then I'll be back.
Thank you, Jeevanji. Thank you for such an inspiration and amazing leadership you all always do. Jeevanji, I'm amazed to see such a distinguished, notable, and highly accomplished leaders and members of the community here tonight. Can we give a big round of applause for each of you wonderful people present here tonight? As Neeraj and Jeevanji introduced the GOPIO, I will get to what the GOPIO Silicon Valley chapter intends to do. We have a key role to play in the community in creating an awareness around different issues and helping to bring a resolution to those in the areas of education, immigration, healthcare, or working towards creating, helping the entrepreneurs, helping the seniors, citizens, or homeless people. And also at the same time, preserving and promoting cultures and bringing a unity among the diverse group, which is a great example why we all are here today to celebrate unity in diversity. The new board will also be working towards building bilateral relationships between Silicon Valley and the different cities and heads of Indian states and the Indian groups to help them. One of my example I will take, the Bollywood industry always wanted and wants to do shooting of the movies in California. So that is one example. We want to help them come here and create jobs in California by bringing those groups here. We want to help the entrepreneurs who are starting afresh so that we can help them and guide, provide, the intellectual capital which is present here tonight to guide those entrepreneurs so that they can get the first investors and the funding they need to keep them growing high. So let me start introducing the team we have here of the GoPio. On the board of directors, let me invite CEO of Women Now TV, Anna Sarkar, Seetal Ori, CEO of SeetalOri.com, Neil Banerjee, founder of Potmax, Rohit Saini, partner at Radio Zindagi, the largest radio station in North America, Priya Gandhi, the super rock star singer in the Bay Area, bringing the Bollywood culture, Raj Nathawat, ex-president of Rajasthan Association of North America, and currently on the executive team of Rajasthan Association, Malini Patel, who has been in the media and journalism industry for 14 years, Rishi Chopra is not here tonight, and Ritu Maheswari, a technology executive. So we have a lot of activities planned in the coming weeks and months, and we'll be working together with each of you and in the coming weeks and months. So look forward to see you again, and thank you for joining tonight here at the Unity Dinner to celebrate the 11th Unity and Diversity which Jeevan Jutsi ji had created and founded. So can we give a big round of applause once again for Jeevan ji? And just one more thing. We have a great entertainment plan for you tonight. There's a rocking Bhangra dance coming from, and Rohit Saini, my friend, can you raise a hand? And Priya Gandhi will be rocking you with the best of the Bollywood numbers. There's a lot of kids' performance ahead. So please enjoy the evening and look forward to see you again. Thank you.
I would like to call upon some of our very active leaders in this area. Rahul Roy, Anil Yadav, could you please come up to the stage just for a second only? Rajiv Avasthi, Raj Salman, Dharmender Diwan, and last but not the least, Mr. Joe Jawhar. I know he was just traveling a minute back. Mr. Harish Panchal, NFI, he's the GoPio life member, and also Mr. Mahesh Pakala.
Good job, Julia. Good job.
This is about unity, friends. I think the only way we can move forward in life is by staying together and working together for the betterment of our future generation. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Now, we've had a lot of diversity and unity and diversity from the speakers this evening, but I'm going to give you 3 guesses on how we've not been diverse up to this point. Sadly, you've been seeing a progression of middle-aged men, and we're going to begin to change that right now with somebody who in a mixed room is charming, intelligent, attractive, and dominates the room, but by contrast to all of the speakers that have been here, she shines ever brighter. I'd like to introduce you to Sheetal Artri.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, David. That was really, really sweet and kind, and thank you, Jeevan ji. I mean, I'm really honored to be here today. Thank you to all of you here, the community heads, the leaders, and Ajay Jain Bhatoria. I'm going to be now introducing you to Rhythm and Steps. Rhythm and Steps is one of the premier dance schools in the Bay Area that specializes in Bollywood and folk dance. Troops from Rhythm and Steps are known to set the stage on fire for sure, and I've seen them perform. Its founder and creative director, Sudha Mudra Bidani, has choreographed several cultural and fashion shows featuring Bollywood celebrities, winning the appreciation of many. Sudha firmly believes that dancing is like dreaming with your feet. So please put your hands together and get ready for a rocking dance performance by Rhythm and Steps Dance Troupe. Thank you, kids. I would like to now call on stage Aisha Wahab from the Afghan community.
Good evening. As a proud Afghan American, I'm very happy to be here. I want to actually thank Jivan for inviting us and the entire Indian community that is present today. From the Afghan community, we have Rona Popal, the founder of the Afghan Coalition, Tawab Wahab, an Afghan artist, Nazma Mohammad, and Mariam Mujadidi, that are present on behalf of the Afghan community. And I just wanted to say that today we're sitting here, and I just want to look at the room for the first time and say that look at the amount of talent we have, the amount of educated individuals we have, and the drive that each one of us carries. And I do want to say that I'm proud of all of us. We are better together, and we are all American, and we stand here united. And I want to really thank you all for everything that you guys have done, and I hope that you have another 10, 15 years doing this. Thank you.
I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing our friend, Mr. Ro Khanna, who again doesn't need introduction. He was the Deputy Assistant Secretary, U.S. Department of Commerce, and it's very appropriate that he talks about creation of jobs, what the Department of Commerce has been doing. And I have the honor of invite Ro is here already. Thank you, Ro.
Thank you. You have been a true visionary in organizing the Unity Dinner and bringing this community and our greater Tri-City communities together since after 9/11. And I think everyone should give a round of applause for Jeevan Zutsi. I also want to briefly, my remarks will be very brief, but I do want to acknowledge our great congressional team that represents this area. We, of course, have Congressman Mike Honda. And I think what everyone says good things about Congressman Honda, and the one thing that I can add, having been in Washington, is Congressman Honda, of course, is an outstanding representative for our area. But he is also the one person in the entire United States Congress who, if there's an issue concerning the Asian American community anywhere, or if there's an issue the administration wants to know about Asia, they go to Congressman Honda. So it's a privilege to have him from this area. And I want to recognize, of course, Congressman Pete Stark, whose district we are in. No one did more for helping when NUMMI closed, or did more in advocating with iGate and the Innovation Forum than Congressman Stark. It's a privilege that we have someone with such seniority. He's represented here by Jason Teramoto, and the joke with Jason is he's trying to get into the 50 best-looking Capitol Hill staffers, so you'll indulge him. It's a privilege to be, we have the award with Rahul Roy being recognized as an entrepreneur, and Reena Rao and with TV Asia, and of course our great team of where Jeevan brought together of Dr. Japra and Joe Johal and Anil Yadav and Dr. Salwan and Yogi Chugh and Mahesh Pakala. And one other personal point, I just wanted to recognize a buddy of mine who shaved his hair a second year for Baldridge, Chris Nichols, who's here with his friend Navneet. I want to speak just for 2 minutes about what it means to have unity and diversity. I was at a luncheon this afternoon up in San Francisco where Teresa Cox, who some of us know, was being recognized by the 100 African American women for her contributions. And there was a speaker there, Ruslan, who's the Assistant Secretary of Civil Rights at the Department of Education. And she said something that struck me for the first time, because I'm often talking about international competitiveness and how we be competitive and create jobs. And Ruslan said that if you care about our country being competitive, you have to care about equity in education. About equity in education. And she cited some staggering statistics. 20% of African American males at some point will go through a suspension in high school. 46% of students who are suspended are either African American or Latino American. despite all the progress our country has made, we are still failing huge segments of our population in education. Now, some of us may think it's a moral issue, but Ruslan's point was, how are we going to compete with China, with India, with Brazil, with the changing face of our demographics, if we're not educating equally our entire population? And so, Jeevan, as you always challenge us to have unity and diversity, my view is, as we come from a community, and Congressman Honda has been so eloquent in reminding us, as we come from communities of relative privilege, where we have decent schools, we need to think broadly and more broadly about diversity, think about what our obligation is to other communities to create equity in education, not just from the moral perspective, but from a perspective of creating jobs and being a competitive economy. Thank you.
I saw Roe speak recently at the Republic Day at Chabot College, and he's a former Obama administration official and made a very interesting connection. He said, without Gandhi, there would have been no President Obama. And that may be immediately apparent to everyone in this room, or many people in this room, but what he meant was that President Obama was the result of the civil rights movement in this country, spearheaded by Martin Luther King. Well, where did Martin Luther King get the inspiration for nonviolence and standing against evil with compassion and courage? But no other person than Mahatma Gandhi. So that Obama, Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi are connected inextricably historically, and I thought that was a very interesting insight. I'd also like to acknowledge one of our elected officials that just came in. Senator Ellen Corbett is here this evening, so let's give her a round of applause. I'm catching up with my program here. My next guest is a gentleman who harkens from the unincorporated area of Alameda County and Castro Valley. He is as proud of Castro Valley as I am of Fremont. He is the president of Spectrum Community Services and a constituent liaison for Alameda County Supervisor Nate Miley. And if you want to see a really interesting interview, and I was doing a little bit of background research, there's a great YouTube video of him talking about the greatness of Castro Valley on CCTV, Castro Valley TV, and that's a great interview. So I'd like to introduce Robert Bob Swanson, the Constituent Liaison Officer for Nate Miley.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Glad to be here. Yes, I am President of Spectrum Community Services, and it's a real honor to be here tonight. I'd like to say hi to John Dutra, and the Honorable John Dutra is our Vice President at Spectrum. Thank you, John. I'm here to introduce tonight my boss, Alameda County Supervisor Nate Miley. When Nate Miley graduated from law school, he could have gone to, any major law firm, but he decided that he wanted to give back. He is a very social conscious person. And he decided to become a Jesuit volunteer and learn community organizing, very similar to President Obama. And after finishing his training, he was sent to East Oakland, and where he was to find out who was underrepresented in East Oakland, who needed help. And so he began knocking doors and talking to people, and he found out that senior citizens were underrepresented and they weren't getting services. So Nate Miley organized United Seniors of Oakland and Alameda County and asked for senior services, and by gosh, they started to get them. Nate Miley. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Bob. Good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight. Let me just initially thank all the organizers and all the elected officials and all the special guests and leaders this evening. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to also be in Fremont, see the mayor over there and some of the Fremont City Council members, and it's great to be in your city. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my friend and colleague on the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Scott Haggerty. Scott's over there. And if you caught it, I said not just my colleague, but my friend, Supervisor Haggerty. And I've got other friends at the table over there. My son, Chris Miley, sitting there. He works for Supervisor Nadia Lockyer, and he's doing a fine job. So I'm going to talk a little bit about jobs this evening, because I serve with Scott on the Alameda County Transportation Commission. And let me just tell you a few things. The Commission administers the transportation sales tax in Alameda County, as well as regional, state, and federal funds that flow into the county. The Transportation Commission was formed many years ago, but grew out of the Congestion Management Authority as well as the Transportation Improvement Authority. And as a result of that merger, we've saved the taxpayers over $3 million. The mission of the Transportation Commission is to plan, fund, and deliver a broad spectrum of transportation projects and programs that expand access and improve mobility to foster a vibrant and livable Alameda County. We have a 22-member board. Sue, where's Sue? She serves on that board from Fremont City Council. Sue's over there. She's on that board. Bob Wachowski used to be on that board. So the Transportation Commission has a tremendous success in delivering our projects. We have a good 20-year history, and we've done a lot. We have been able to leverage over $725 million in local sales tax into $3 billion in project delivery. The sales tax has generated nearly $1 billion of for the transportation in Alameda County into the local economy. This creates a ripple effect as well. Funds from the county have since transportation sales tax has used to remove transportation bottlenecks, improve access to public transit, build sidewalks, pathways, maintain roads, and other things. And you know, that's good for the economy. That's good for people to get to and from work. That's good for the community. What does this mean for small business? Small business are considered key economic deliverers of jobs and economic development. Most of the employment in the county is created by small and mid-sized businesses of 100 or more employees. In fiscal year 10-11 alone, about 82% of the engineering and administrative contracts went to 175 local firms. I'm just pulling that out as an example. With the transportation sales tax that we are moving and advancing in Measure B3, that's what we're calling it, we anticipate creating 125,000 jobs. That is 125,000 jobs when we start the new measure in 2013. $35% will go towards operations, nearly $3 billion. Now, when you translate that, we figure roughly $1 billion equals 25,000 jobs. So we're counting on 125,000 jobs to be produced by the $5 billion of infrastructure investment that we're going to pump back into this economy. So what I would urge all of you to do, I brought some information on Alameda County Transportation Commission and the reauthorization of Measure B. We're calling it B3. It'll be on the ballot this November. If you're interested in getting this information, I've got it over at my table. Please pick it up, but if you don't remember anything, remember this. Measure B3, it's a jobs measure. It's going to produce over 125,000 jobs in the county, and these are good paying jobs. So, keeping with the theme of this evening, I just wanted to deliver that good news.
Basil Besh. He's a local orthopedic surgeon in Fremont. He is co-founder with Dr. John Jaragito of Fremont Orthopedic and Rehabilitative Medicine. As well, he is the chairman of the orthopedics at Washington Hospital. Dr. Besh serves on the board of California Orthopedic Association and on the board of counselors of the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Besh.
Thank you for that very kind introduction. I'd like to take a moment and thank Mr. Jivan Zucchi. It's very kind and gracious of you to allow me to speak at this event. I'm really honored. Some of you may remember I spoke here last year, and I got myself into a little bit of hot water. I told the story of how my wife was driving near our house and got pulled over by a police officer, and she mentioned Scott Haggerty and got out of a ticket, and Scott gave me an earful that evening. Well, my goodness, how things change in a year. About a month ago, I got pulled over and happened to mention Scott's name, and the guy gave me 2 tickets. So, Scott, you might want to check on that. I've been charged with speaking about lessons, and I'd like to tell you a little story. About 150 years ago, in a small border town in Texas, 2 friends grew up, Pete and Willie. And Pete was kind of a straight-laced fellow, and Willie was a little bit more of a, shall we say, rascal. And of course they grew up, and sure enough, Pete became a customs agent, trying to stop smuggling up from Mexico. Willie became, maybe we should call him an entrepreneur. And so 5 or 6 times a year, Willie would ride up on a mule up to the border from Mexico, and Pete would meet him there, and Pete would say, Willie, I know you. I know you well. We grew up together. You have to be smuggling something. You must be smuggling something. And he'd search him up and down, and he couldn't find anything. 5 or 6 times a year, Willie would ride up on a mule. Pete would search him, couldn't find anything. This happened for 30 years. Finally, the 2 of them retired, and they were at a bar together in their hometown, and Pete turned to Willie and said, Willie, I'm 100% sure you were smuggling something. Every time you'd ride up on the mule, I'd search you. Please, for the sake of our friendship, tell me, were you smuggling something? He said, yes, I was. He said, damn it, what was it? He said, I was smuggling mules. The reason I tell that story is that I've been charged with speaking of lessons, and when you sign up for a college class or an online class, you know you're going to learn a lesson. But oftentimes the best lessons we learn are not the obvious ones. They're the ones we learn through life. I've had my first foray into public service this year, and I learned a very important lesson. And that lesson wasn't that public service is a civic duty, even though it is, or that public service feels wonderful, even though it does. It's that public service may arguably be the most thankless job in the world. We at gatherings like this acknowledge leaders when they gather together in a community, but we as a society have become more cynical of our leaders. Approval ratings, complaints, a sense of entitlement. Just because we elected them means we can be demanding of them. The lesson I learned is that we shouldn't be that way, because it'll drive the best amongst us away from the most important job in our society, and that's leadership. Take a moment, and not just in gatherings like this, but pull aside a council member, an elder statesman like Mr. Dutra, Mr. Honda, our congressman, and honestly thank them, because theirs is a thankless job. We complain, we demand, we have a sense of entitlement as citizens. They lead, volunteers, paid, not paid. We owe them a debt of gratitude. So I'd like to take my moment up here at this microphone to give a warm thank you to all those leaders in this room who serve and who serve humbly before us. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Besh. I really appreciate that. Now, I'd like to introduce Anjali Shekhar Jutsi. She was born in Miami and went to Georgetown and American University for her law degree. She works as an attorney in Washington, D.C., and is the beautiful life partner of our Raul Zucchi, son of our good friend Jivan Zucchi.
Good evening. Like Dr. Besh, I was tasked with speaking about lessons of unity through diversity. And I really wasn't sure where to start or what that even really meant. So I looked up the definition of unity. And it said, the state or fact of being united or combined into one. as of the parts of a whole, unification. And this seemed pretty in keeping with what I knew unity to be. And then it said, the absence of diversity. And I suddenly became aware of how much more challenging the topic my father-in-law so nonchalantly gave me when he said, talk about unity through diversity. So then I really started thinking about how to make this all come together, and I thought more about diversity. That was a bit more grim. Diversity was defined as unlikeness, a point of difference. And I thought about how points of difference were continually the source of conflict. In fact, I figured out that there were currently over 20 major global conflicts in the world. What was more interesting was that nearly every single one of them had been persisting for over 10 years. And the civil war in Burma, which is an ethnic conflict, has in fact is the Earth's longest running war and has lasted for 64 years. You'd think that they'd just get tired or someone would retire, but they've just kept on going. And it seemed like in the war between unity and diversity, diversity has always prevailed. But then I realized that in any sort of conflict, where there's some sort of contention between the parties, you have, whether it's the war on terror or the Israel and Palestine conflict, you have individuals with strong opinions who are passionate about their beliefs, committed to a cause, and relentless in their pursuit. So while they may differ in their cultures, or the color of their skin, or even their religions, they share the defining characteristics that are bigger than their differences, and also the very attributes that, if channeled toward uniting rather than dividing, could make for a very powerful change. So although the dictionary is a respectable authority, upon my brief reflection of unity through diversity, I'd have to respectfully disagree. For the lesson to be learned is not that unity requires the absence of diversity, but rather diversity requires the presence of unity. And by that I mean, if despite our differences, we focused on our similarities, we could at least initiate a dialogue and harness our similarities towards a positive end, which is precisely why attending events like the Unity Dinner, where we must come out of our social comfort zones and engage in dialogues in cross-cutting interactions that can ultimately lead to profound consequences for our families and the community at large. So with that, I believe that we should continue to cherish our diversity and foster our unity. Thank you.
Now I know why they asked me to be an MC. I'm an attorney by profession. We just had a wonderful attorney from Washington, D.C., Anjali Zucchi, speak. We had Ro Khanna speak earlier. We've got Senator Ellen Corbett. We have Bob Wachowski, our attorneys. We have a number of our attorneys, Ash Kalra. And now I am very proud to acknowledge another person that is going to school at my alma mater, Santa Clara University School of Law, that is going to be talking about a very serious subject in which she leads as a foundation, but she is completing her studies there, and her name, and she's originally from Berkeley, but she is a terrific and dynamic person I just had a chance to meet. I'd like to introduce Sharon Danoa. Sharon, please come up.
Good evening. Sorry to change the tone a little bit, but I wanted to talk about something a little bit serious this evening. I spoke here a few years ago on behalf of the Amit Zucchi Foundation to provide you with some background. It began in 2008 following the tragic death of Amit Zucchi. Before he passed, Amit was regularly taking a variety of supplements. Doctors were unsure about the effect that they had on his vital organs, particularly his heart. Amit's nutritional choices were not unusual, and with the rising cost of healthcare and medication, we're finding more consumers are in search of these alternatives. These alternatives come to us in the form of supplements or herbal remedies. The market has grown exponentially since 1994, when supplements began to be classified as food as opposed to medicine. The major problem is that these supplements are obscuring the line between medical advice and nutritional advice. It used to be they were only sold in specialty stores, but now you're finding them sold in gyms, supermarkets, convenience stores, and even in the checkout line. Just recently, the U.S. Army removed some dietary supplements from their own shelves following the deaths of 2 of their soldiers. The supplements removed were Jack 3D and Oxy Elite Pro, which were marketed as pre-workout boosters. For athletes, they're supposed to contain an ingredient which is supposed to help increase your energy, your concentration, and metabolism, but they also increase your heart rate. There was some hope that recently that these supplements would be regulated with the Dietary Supplement Act of 2010, but it seemed that there was just too much pressure from this billion-dollar industry, and the act was dropped before it even had a chance. While these supplements clearly change your body chemistry as medicines do, they're not tested the way that medicines are. The burden is on us, the consumer, to find out the potential risks and how these supplements react with other supplements or medicines. The only information we receive from manufacturers are sophisticated marketing catchphrases, ambiguous promises, and a disclaimer advising consumers to ask your doctors before using. Amit's story was tragic, and what makes it worse is that he truly believed he was following a healthy lifestyle. The supplements industry created a false reality for him. With so many diets, nutritionists, and manufacturers promoting extreme food choices, it's hard to distinguish whether a person is dedicated to nutrition or heading towards trouble. Since the Foundation's creation, Jeevan has published a memoir that walks us through his experience of coming to America in hopes of building his future with his family. We're offering these books today in the hopes of spreading information about this industry. Please see me to get a copy. The table's over there. The Foundation has also released a small video, but more needs to be done. More awareness is necessary. The Foundation is planning a full documentary with the hopes of not only raising awareness, but pushing policymakers to recognize how dangerous this lack of regulation is and ask our representatives to stand up against this industry. Please join us in asking for more and by making a contribution to the Foundation to support these efforts. Thank you.
There's actually a narrative arc about what we just heard with a very moving presentation by Sharon Denoa. In 2001, we faced a national tragedy with 9/11. And what we just heard from Sharon was a personal tragedy that Jeevan had in his family with the irreplaceable loss of his eldest son. But as he did after 9/11, he acted then and helped build communal bonds. Out of his personal tragedy, he did the same once again to try to educate the public about the excesses of unregulated dietary supplements. So that was a moving presentation. He created a foundation. He published a book, which we just heard about. So thank you very much, Jeevan, for your leadership and your visionary leadership in making progress on that point. And now I'd like to, as we are towards the conclusion of our program this evening, I'm going to introduce a great friend, a great mentor of mine, former Assembly Member John Dutra. But before he gets up and before you applaud him, John has been a realtor by profession. He started out and he has a much longer biography. He worked at the Lawrence Livermore Lab, but then he started Red Carpet Dutra Realty here in Fremont. And he began to see the changing face of Fremont one client at a time, one family at a time. As we heard from Carl Gordino earlier, people came here from all over the world, whether it was from Taiwan, Hong Kong, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and obviously from India, to live here in Fremont. And he sold them their homes, he sold them their dreams, he sold them their opportunities in Fremont. And then he got elected to the Fremont City Council, and thereafter he was elected to the State Assembly representing the 20th Assembly District. And during his tenure in the Assembly, one of the things Assembly members get to do is to educate the next generation of Americans how our political process works through the use of interns, having interns that are at high school age coming into the office, learning how to do constituent services, going up to Sacramento, seeing how legislation is done. And in that capacity, he opened the doors wide open to the first generation of Indo-Americans in our community, for the Chinese Americans in our community, and he was all about diversity. He grew up the son of a single mother that had to raise him in San Jose. He's a very proud Azorean, knows Portuguese, so understands as the son of Azoreans what the challenges are for facing challenges in this country as an immigrant. And then during this period in the Assembly, he began to form a bond with then Assembly member Mike Honda, and they shared a lot in common because Mike also grew up, I believe, in San Jose, also grew up of a very ethnic past, and they formed a real strong bond that has only grown over the years. So it's with great, great, great privilege, John, that I get to introduce you this evening as you then introduce our Congressman. Let's give a big round of applause to Assemblymember John Dutra.
It's interesting now how things change, because now, years ago, I was one of the younger members in a group like this. Now I'm the senior citizen, I'm the senior leader, and I feel as though clear the way, I'm fading into the sunset. But Mike Honda is truly one of the finest men I've had the pleasure of knowing in my lifetime, and that's with no exaggeration of any kind. I have enormous respect for his integrity. The man is genuine, he's decent, he's a family man, and he, in terms of diversity, has zero tolerance for any bigotry of any kind. I remember on one occasion when Mike was talking on the assembly floor. And as you know, Mike is Japanese. He's very proud of his heritage, as we all are. I'm Azorean Portuguese, very proud of my heritage. But Mike was talking on one occasion about the atrocities that were committed by the Japanese during the Second World War, particularly aimed at the Chinese. And he spoke for 20 minutes, and ladies and gentlemen, you could hear a pin drop on the assembly floor. And believe me, anybody who has served on the legislature, as Bob Bukowski and others have, it's never quiet on that floor. But he spoke with such decency, and he spoke in terms of what needed to be said, and he has no hesitation. If there's an atrocity, if there's bigotry, Mike will call it out. As you may know, if you look at his background, as a young man, he actually spent time in the internment camp with his parents during World War II. So he got an introduction into things that are wrong very early, very early. Mike, for those of you who thinks that some legislators are not talented folks in terms of the sciences, be careful with Mike, because he was a math teacher and he's got math on cold. So I'm just a little scared about talking to him about that. But he was on the school board. He served as a Santa Clara supervisor, and then he went to the assembly, where I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen,
if I were voting different than Mike, I worried about whether my vote was right or not. There's some member in the assembly, if I were voting opposite them, I knew I was making a good choice. But then there came a time when they were looking for somebody to run for Congress. And I urged Mike, and there was others in the Assembly and in the Senate and the State Senate that were urging Mike to run, and he simply said no to all of us. Then the Speaker Gebhardt, Speaker of the House at that time, called and personally asked Mike to run. I just want you to know that this man is never on an ego trip. He is genuine. He's a good and decent man of higher integrity, and he is genuine. And he said no to Speaker Gebhardt. Then Vice President Gore called him and asked him to run for the seat. I don't know how he did it, Mike. I have no idea how you did this, but he said no to the Vice President of the United States. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know where the next call came from. President Clinton called Mike. And as President Clinton was talking to him about running and trying to convince him to run for Congress, Mike was making deals for California and his constituency with the President of the United States. And so the President, how do you say no to the President? So Mike decided to run, and thank God he did. And I can tell you, he will serve as good in Congress, representing us as he did when he was in the Assembly, when he was a supervisor, when he was in the school board, and when he was a teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce my fine friend, Congressman Mike Honda.
Muito obrigado. Thank you, John and Bernice. And I just want to say thank you for the words from the Indian Consul General, Parthasarati. Is that how you say it? It's a lot of letters in there. But to Jivan and the organizer of this unity event, I just want to say thank you for your invitation to me too. You had a wonderful lineup of speakers tonight. You went through almost every kind of subject matter that you could ever think of that's going to be important to our country and to our families. Jobs, the economy, fighting against the kinds of herbs and drugs that are being passed off as food supplements and things like that. I think that needs to be looked at. We're looking at the wonderful performance of the youngsters tonight. I kept looking at them. I wondered, could I jump up and down like that anymore? I don't think so. And then I just want to say to all the wait staff that waited on us, I want to thank them also. And we all know what service is all about. And Jivan, thank you for this invitation. We've heard a lot from Carl Guardino about jobs and the economy and how important that is. And in this new district, and can I say in this new district of mine, it's really wonderful to be able to represent Newark and Fremont in addition to Sunnyvale and the rest of the Congressional District 17. It's a wonderful experience because I get to represent folks that I have made friends with for over the years, and I just want to say to all of you, thank you for this time and this opportunity. And to our MC, Bonacorsi, I just want to say that you're a great MC. I see him at every function. He's an MC for some reason. The Mayor Nagy, and I just want to thank the mayors for doing the work that you do. And it's great that someone talked about public service. But I just have to tell you, this job being in Congress is the best job I've ever had in my whole life because In doing so, I get to use every experience I've ever had growing up and doing the different kinds of work that I've done, and it applies to almost anything that we do at the national level. On top of that, I get to pick my own fights. You know, and one of the fights, you know, John talked about is to pursue national apologies for atrocities that's been done to people in the past. But the things that in the past have really impact for today and tomorrow. The one that John was talking about is the apology by the Japanese government, who's our democratic partner, is to have them acknowledge the atrocities against women when they use them as sex slaves, you know, before World War II and during World War II. And they said that was something in the past. Why would a Japanese American want to do this to Japan? You're one of us. Well, no, I'm an American. But the thing is this, it's not about the past that the atrocities were done. It's about today, too, because atrocities against women still continue. When there's conflict, we always seem to be taking advantage, brutalizing, raping women and girls in areas of conflict, and that's got to stop. It has to stop. And so it has application for today. So we teach our kids the atrocities of the past so that today they'll be good and tomorrow they'll be even better. And this is what I think that the promise of our country is all about. The Constitution is written by a bunch of folks who knew that they were imperfect, who knew that the country that they're forming was imperfect, who knew that the government they were creating was imperfect, because they were all arguing amongst each other. Remember that? The colonies were trying to figure out how they're going to pull together the 13 colonies and agree on one constitution. So in the Constitution, they had that one phrase. Do you remember that? In order to form a more perfect union. They knew they were imperfect. They knew that the union they were going to form is going to be imperfect. It's creation of man. Because no women were involved. If women were involved, it might have been perfect. I'm sorry, I digress. But the point is this, they knew that, so they put that phrase in the Constitution in order to form a more perfect union. Then they said that we hold these things, certain inalienable rights, they hold that as truths. And that is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And in that is embedded the economy, the jobs. And what was not mentioned was education. Now, I know our community holds education in high regard. I'm supposed to talk about jobs, so I really want to talk to you about education because it is the core, it is the base for everything that we do in this country, in this world, in our families, in order for us to be able to compete for jobs, to be able to have options for jobs, to be able to choose our future. So let me just share a few insights as a teacher of 30 years. Number one, the Constitution didn't say education. They said it's that which is not stated in the Constitution is relegated to the states. So today, the states think it's their sole right to do education, and it isn't. The Constitution didn't say forever. It was just at that time, it's relegated to you for your responsibility. Because at that time, there was no educational system. There was the military, post office, commerce, everything else, so that was all mentioned. Now, if they knew that our country is going to be like today, well developed and with the technology, they would have said something like, until such time we have technology that we can communicate in real time and make this globe smaller. Then, you know, the federal government would have a role in it. So, the constitutional argument, I think we ought to really look at that as attorneys and say that may be change the policy language of our country. Instead of saying all children deserve and have a right to equal opportunity in education, what if we change it to each child has a right to an equity in education. What if we did that? Would the solution set change? And when we look at our understanding of the genesis of public education in this country, there is no one story. There's a story from each section of this country at a time that this country was developing. Southern states, they developed with this concept called separate but equal. Until the 50s, we started saying, oh man, that's not right. And then when TV told us that all those things were going on in those states, and then other states had different kinds of notions about public education and its history. So we have to understand that public education have a variety of genesis in this country. Therefore, we cannot assume that there is one concept of equity, and we have to deal with that. So we go to each child. What mother, what parent is going to say, I don't want that for my child? Because it's not a battle of groups of people. It's not a battle between neighborhoods, not a battle between income groups. I'm not talking about income groups and inequities. How come we have poor schools in poor neighborhoods? How come we have poor schools in poor neighborhoods? I want you to think about that, because it really drives down to local control in our cities and counties and our states and how we develop, how we design communities. And then we start to realize that how we create our communities really is a foundation for the infrastructure of our community, our public schools. Okay? And then let's get to financing. We fight over increasing the average daily attendance. Some states have average daily attendance of $10,000, $16,000. Ours is around $7,500. Okay, let's say that we have $16,000 behind each child, average daily attendance. That's equal amount. And that's not equity, it's parity. It's parity. That assumes that every child has the same needs that would be covered by the same amount of money. So are we prepared to address each child's needs and find out what those needs are and then fund it? Now, remember Khrushchev? He was visiting this country, he had a chair, he had a shoe and he was pounding on the podium, said, we don't have to, we don't have to conquer you from the outside. You will fall within your own structure. You would implode. Okay, think about this in terms of education. The Nation at Risk in the 80s had reported out the condition of our schools. In my opinion, the only thing they said that was sensible was that if any country came to this country and wants to impose a mediocre school system in this country, that would be like an act of war. Now we're moving towards that mediocrity, aren't we? So that means Khrushchev might be right. We're going to implode on our own selves. So we have to look at ourselves and say, what is it that we're doing that's not working? And what are the basic things we need to revisit in order to have this promise of a more perfect union? Why is it that we have 50 states arguing over each budget, and the only thing that ends up is that they balance the budget on the backs of children by cutting education in order to be able to balance the budget? That's terrible. It's a terrible thing for our legislators to be placed in, but ultimately it ends up hurting our kids. So where's the federal government's role? And then let me close with this. Over the years, the decades in public education, we were looking at children versus adults. Children were working in factories, taking jobs from adults. So during the St. Clair Lewis era, we started to do this, what we call compulsory education. Children has to go to school from the ages of 6 to 16. Some states have different modification of it, But basically it's 6 to 16. Now in the area of law enforcement, if you have to be in an institution for a set amount of time, that's called a determinate sentence. Our children are subject to a determinate sentence. Okay, if that's the case, the other question is, are our children, when they go to school, getting what they need on a daily basis? And we know that most of them are not. Some of our schools here are doing well. We're happy. We're not satisfied, but we could do better, but they're going to do okay. But there are many, Appalachia, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Texas, different parts of California, children are not getting the equity that they deserve. And here's the thing. Children go to school with one currency only, and that is time. And you can't take that time and bank it and set it aside, and that it starts to develop interest and then withdraw later. Once that child goes to school, spend that time is spent and gone. So what's the return on their investment if we don't take care of our youngsters' needs on a daily basis? So this is a challenge I think we have, and it's probably going to be the greatest civil rights challenge of our nation. Earlier it was said that Gandhi was responsible for the civil rights movement because Martin Luther King was impacted by it. Well, I would not be in Congress were it not for Gandhi, because by extension, the civil rights movement allowed people like me to be able to serve in Congress and still have this face and background and be able to be part of that diversity that we talk about. So all of us should be able to take our individual experiences and translate that into policy, local, state, federal, school board, translate our individual experiences into policy, that diverse background into policy, so that the policy becomes, even though it's diverse in its creation, we have a unified policy that addresses every person in this country and how we even educate our youngsters. So again, thank you very much to this group. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Congressman Mike Honda. A big round of applause. Thank you. And he's a very humble man. He's very modest. One thing you don't know about Mike Honda, he speaks fluent Spanish. So he's lived diversity within our diverse communities. We have a number of other elected officials that have joined us this evening that need to be recognized. From the great city of Union City, Mayor Mark Green, raising his hand over there. Mayor Mark Green. From the great city of San Jose, Council Member Kansan Chu. Ni hao ma, Kansan. Ni hao, ni hao. From the representative of, district representative for County Supervisor George Shirakawa, Kansan's better half, Daisy Chu. And from the Dublin City Council, Eric Swalwell. And I will be happy to introduce her twice, Jeevan. I did introduce her earlier, but because she's Italian-American, from the District 2, from Nadia Lockyer's district, Ginny DiMartini. Again, Ginny. Can't be introduced too many times, right, Ginny? And Shukriya. And we're going to have some, let's have some masti. Let's have some masti? Huh? Huh? Pretty good? And the definition of masti is Shito Ori. Come on up, Shito. Oh, go ahead. You would. Oh. Pardon for this interruption. I had that dramatic, I have to reintroduce you again. See, you're still charming and still intelligent. Do you want me to go on? No, this was a Paul Collin for judge. So Paul Collin for judge. Very good. Thank you.
Go ahead, take it away.
Thank you, David. I thought I was the Zara Hatke girl of Radio Zindagi, but Masti is another name. Thank you, all of you. And now we have Dhol Rhythms, the dance company, who is going to be performing Bhangra dance. Dhol Rhythms is an organization dedicated to promoting the artistic and cultural heritage of India through the beautiful Bhangra and Gidda folk dances of Punjab. They host classes, workshops, and present performances and events that celebrate this unique music and rhythm of Punjab. Since their inception in 2003, they have grown into boundless and unique platform for people of diverse backgrounds to come together, express themselves and dance in non-competitive and positive environment. Their non-stop Bhangra is to be seen here at the Unity Dinner. Let's give a round of applause for Dhol Rhythms.
सोने दी जुत्ती पे
rousing applause. Wonderful Bhangra performance. They're going to be performing in a few minutes after our last introductions. You got to say it. Jai Ho! Jai Ho! There we go. Council member and former Vice Mayor Steve Cho, and the founder of Iacf, Jivan Zucchi. This would have been our Irish hour with Tim Riley. He usually is part of this presentation, but unfortunately he's recovering from surgery, so we had Pete McHugh we introduced earlier. I guess that's our Irish quotient for the evening. But we're going to have Jivan Zucchi and Steve Cho present the IACF Leadership Awards. Turn it over to you wonderful gentlemen. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I know that this evening is getting late for a lot of you, so we'll try to make this nice and short, but in keeping with the tradition that you save the best for last, well, this is it. Okay, so I'm honored to be here this evening to be part of this celebration. As was said, this Unity Day is in its 11th year, and it had its start after the aftermath of 9/11 as a way of bringing the community together. And so with Jivan's vision of uniting the community after that tragedy, who kind of represent the theme unity and diversity. And we've done that, or Jivan has done that, through the past 10 years, and tonight is no different. The team of Tim Riley, Jivan, and myself, we came together and looked through the nominees that were presented to us, and we came together with a slate of people that we felt that were representative of the true theme of the unity, diversity. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the first recipient that we would like to do is TV Asia. And to make the presentation, this will be done by Jivan Zucchi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm very delighted to be introducing our TV Asia representative, Reena Rao. Reena Rao is a very fascinating woman. She's always there to cover all the events everywhere, and her husband, Mr. Mahesh Pakala, who is just taking my picture right now. they're both wonderful. And TV Asia, actually, I don't know how many of you know, but TV Asia is a national TV channel which is dedicated to promoting art and culture. And they're doing a wonderful job. They have excellent programs, excellent news, and you know, it's just wonderful. And I am just delighted to be bringing here our Reena Rao for an award from IACF Leadership Award. Thank you, Reena ji.
You want me to say something?
Sure.
I don't think I can say anything. Okay, I'm not good with this. Okay. I'm honored and privileged to receive this award on behalf of TV Asia and Mr. H.R. Shah, who could not make it today since due to some health problems. And I'm honored to receive this award in front of such an esteemed gathering. I would like to thank Mr. Jivan Zucchi and Indo-American Community Federation for this honor. It's really commendable how Mr. Zucchi continues to do this unity dinner, get all the diverse communities at one place every year, same day. A big round of applause to Mr. Zucchi here. TV Asia also takes this opportunity to thank the community here, due to whom TV Asia
through media, we connect to people very well. So we promote unity through our channel. Whenever there is an issue like the Sikh issue or the Muslim issue, TV Asia tries to bring the views and opinions of people on a common TV show to bring the unity together. So please keep watching TV Asia. And once again, thank you for the honor.
Stay on. I would like to bring up two distinguished people here to give the award. Dr. Tusu, who is an honorary, last year's honorary, Dr. Kuldeep Tusu, and Mr. Deepak Gunju from San Mateo, who has been an amazing man, silently supporting all the activities, and we're very, very, very gratified. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
I think you may come here so it's easier. Next honoree is, in fact, we're trying to accommodate him. Rahul has to leave. Mr. Rahul Roy, and I would request Ajay. Ajay, is Ajay still here? Oh, Neil. He will introduce him. Before you say something, before he opens his mouth, he is such a dynamic Gopio director. He is fantastic. He gets everything done in 2 minutes. He's a computer whiz. Thank you.
Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's theme, creating jobs, especially when we are trying to recover from a long recession, is very close to our heart. America is a land of opportunity, and immigrants have come here from all over the globe to fulfill their dreams. This is very much evident from all the hustle and bustle we see here in Silicon Valley, where we are ahead of the innovation curve and creating new markets, thus creating scope for new employment. This is a perfect evening for Gopio Silicon Valley and in the American Community Federation to recognize someone with an Entrepreneurship of the Year award. He is not new to any awards. He has received several national and international entrepreneurship awards before. He has been recognized by the Prime Minister of India and FICCI Corporation of India, and also awarded Entrepreneur of the Year by the Co-Federation of Indian Industry and Coopers and Lybrand. He has been a panel speaker for Seabold, Comdex, and many other Indian technical trade shows. Bill Gates has personally congratulated him for his Planwell creation, saying that Mirror Plus Technologies had the most sophisticated application of a server farm network using Windows 2000 that I have ever seen, and announced an alliance partnership with Mirror Plus Technologies. He later merged Mirror Plus Technologies that he had founded with Ford Graphics and later became a part of ARC. ARC went public in February 2005 and is listed now in NYSE. He is currently the CTO of ARC. ARC has employed up to 5,000 employees nationwide and he has taken the company to a market cap of more than $1 billion. He is also serving on the board of many multinational companies. Additionally, he has also founded other companies like Elegant Micro Device and Consolidated Software, with each having great successes in their own domain areas. He is also a community activist. He worked closely with many council members, assembly members, city officials, including mayors, along with Congress and Senates throughout the country. And his own family foundation helps 500 orphan children worldwide.
The kind of gathering which has come out here. I believe the word unity is very strong, and I also believe when we leave this, we will be able to create jobs, especially when we are trying to recover from a long recession. This is very much evident from all the hustle and bustle we see here in Silicon Valley, where we are ahead of the innovation curve and creating new markets, thus creating scope for new employment. This is a perfect evening for Gopio Silicon Valley and in the American Community Federation to recognize someone with an Entrepreneurship of the Year award. He is not new to any awards. He has been recognized by the Prime Minister of India and FICCI Corporation of India and Coopers and Lybrand. He has been a panel speaker for Seabold, Comdex, and many other Indian technical trade shows. Bill Gates has personally congratulated him for his Planwell creation, saying that Mirror Plus Technologies had the most sophisticated application of a server farm network using Windows 2000 that I have ever seen. grand ballroom tonight, we should carry the emotions being together and being cohesive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ajay.
Thanks to Ajay.
Oh.
There are some proclamations. I would like to invite those of you who have any proclamations. Can you please join us?
Could I request Ash and the members of City Council San Jose also to join?
Okay, our next recipient is Dr. Harmish Kumar, Promoting Diversity in California. The Reverend Brian Steinweber, Executive Director of Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County, will make their introduction.
Good evening, stalwarts. I'm Brian Steinweber, Director of the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County. I've invited up to the podium to help me introduce Dr. Harmish Kumar, Margaret Mary Staller, who is the Vice President of the Interfaith Council. Dr. Kumar and I met over 10 years ago at Todos Santos Plaza in the city of Concord. And we had a nice conversation in the square there, and I knew that I was meeting someone who is not only a talented mental health professional, but also a warm and engaging and energetic person, as well as, I would learn, a terrific entrepreneur. We became instant friends. Since then, he has represented the Indian and the Sikh communities on the board of the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County, a group of 106 organizations in Central and East Contra Costa. He can be counted on to argue the human side of any issue. He's known for his wisdom, his generosity, and his can-do attitude. He ran for the city of Concord City Council, and he may be doing it again, and I wish him well. He single-handedly organized the Vaisakhi International Festival of Diversity, which has been held continuously every spring in Todos Santos Plaza, and now this year will be the ninth year this year, which would not exist without Dr. Kumar. He is a friend, he is a supporter, and he is one of my personal heroes I introduced to receive the Leadership Award from this fine organization, Dr. Harmish Kumar.
Dear friends, first of all, I would like to thank Jivanji that he really, as I said earlier last year on this stage, Jivan in India in Hindi means life. He gave life not only to people like me, he brings alive the spirits within all of us through this Unity in Diversity Festival or organization he has founded many, many years ago. And I'm so proud and so humbled that he has selected me for this award this year. And I also want to thank my parents, they are with me from India, my wife, Geeta Kumar, and my daughter, Sabrina, and my many friends from Fresno, Mr. Taj Randhawa, Binay Vora, Dr. Lohan, Vinod Chumber, Paul Singh and his wife. Thank you so much. And also Reverend Steinweber, we have been working for 10 plus years on the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County, and I learned so much wisdom from him and different and beautiful souls, those who are part of this executive council, including our president, Margaret Mary Stoller. Thank you so much for keeping me in your company. Thank you so much.
Is Saja people here still? I would like to invite you please to join us here. The South Asian Journalist Association.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nandita Verma, and I'm here today from SAJA, the South Asian Journalists Association. For long, our mission has been to support and represent our communities. And today, I'm here from SAJA to honor and support a man whose very mission in life has been to support his people, be it here in the US or back home in India. The work he's done in promoting growth, in creating an environment of unity and friendship is just exemplary. It's with great honor and pleasure that I present this Appreciation Award to Jeevan Zucchi. Please join your hands for him. We're lucky to have him with us.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Mayors from Cupertino, from Milpitas, and our Jose Estevez, please.
Namaste. Congressman Honda, Siobhan, honorable elected officials and community leaders. I want to say, I know it's toward the end of the night, but I'm very proud to be here tonight representing the city of Cupertino. We are very similar to the city of Fremont and the East Bay, and it's very honored for me to give this proclamation to celebrate the diversity of the Bay Area. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm the Vice Mayor of Milpitas, and I'm proud to be here with our Mayor, Jose Estevez, and we have a proclamation. And in essence, what it says is thank you to Jeevan for his recognition of diversity, his appreciation of it, and promoting unity, which is the solution. So with that, on behalf of my mayor.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Face here.
Oh,
here's the music.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll go forward with it.
Okay, our next recipient of recognition is Anna Wang. And I'll do the introductions for Anna. Anna, you're still here, aren't you? There she is. Okay. Anna is a proud mother of 3 precious children. Her son, Lawrence, was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. In order to help Lawrence, she went back to college to study behavioral psychology and language development. This is after getting her degree in electrical engineering. In 1996, she became one of the founding members and vice president of Friends of Children with Special Needs. This is an organization whose mission is to help children with special needs and their families find love, hope, respect, and support through integrated community involvement. FCSN has grown from 10 families to over 800 families today, serving over 600 special needs children and offering 44 programs across 2 different counties. Anna's passion is to explore special children's needs hidden talents, build parent networks, establish collaborative among community partners, public agencies, and educational institutions to support and advocate for individuals with special needs and their families. All of her time was consumed by this passion. She has received a number of awards in the past, and I won't name them, but she can add this one to her list as well. So I would like to invite Anna to come up to receive the recognition. She's behind me. Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to first thank Jivan for giving me this great honor. It is indeed a wonderful honor when I'm doing something I really, where my heart is, and to be able to have these special needs angels be in my life. By receiving this award, I represent all the children with special needs and their families to thank you and for embracing them and embracing the diversity of different abilities in our community. And we really thank you and have a wonderful evening. And together we can build a future for children with all without special needs. Thank you.
When Maxi is getting the award, Iacf Leadership Award, which is for being the champion of diversity. I have seen Ken everywhere promoting diversity, and we are so honored to have him here. Ken, please.
First of all, I'm definitely about diversity, but more importantly, the reason I'm here is because of the company that believes in diversity, and it's called Comcast. And we have a program called Internet Essentials that we're working with groups like Albizondo and Vivian. Wave your hand. So I just want to thank Jivan, but really this is an award for Comcast and their commitment to diversity. So I just wanted to thank him and congratulate him, and we're very thankful for the award.
I want to add that Comcast has brought a lot of their programs to diverse communities, and particularly in Newark to the Latino community. I'm very proud to be part of the program. So thank you, Comcast.
ਨੱਚਦੀ ਨਾ ਤੱਕਾਂ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਗੇੜੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਗੇੜਾ ਲਾਲੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਆ ਗਈ ਚੰਨਾ ਵੇ ਤਰੇਲੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਆਈਆਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਸੋਹਣਿਆ ਵੇ ਮੈਂ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਈਆਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਸੋਹਣਿਆ ਵੇ ਮੈਂ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਈਆਂ शराबी मक्के उत्ते वग्गा मिंटे कट के पंजाबी मेरियां अदावां दे को हो गई शराबी मक्के उत्ते वग्गा मिंटे कट के पंजाबी पत धरती ते लगे आनी वे मेरी जा सब लाइयां तेरे नां ते सोहणिया वे मैं बोलियां दी पाइयां तेरे नां ते सोहणिया वे मैं बोलियां दी पाइयां वारी फेरा पाई वे मैं अखियां बछाइयां तेरे नाम ते सोने आवे मैं बोलियां ती पाइयां तेरे नाम ते सोने आवे मैं बोलियां ती पाइयां फरीदा चन्ना तेरे नाल पावां तेनू मैं सोपूरिया मेरा कोल जावां सखियां फरीदा चन्ना तेरे नाल पावां तेनू मैं सोपूरिया मेरा कोल जावां तेरी बाना मैनू इंज जापे वे कि मेरियां खुदाइयां तेरे नाल ते सोने आवे मैं बोलियां की पाइयां तेरे नाल ते सोने आवे मैं बोलियां की पाइयां
All right, round of applause please for Third Rhythms. Thank you.